Okay, so here we are in week 11. This is Noodle Tools, and you're gathering research. So let's go to my courses and go ahead and click on Noodle Tools, and it's going to ask you to sign in. You will not see what you're seeing here. This is the dashboard page. You have to register as a student and do not pay for this service. As an RIT student, you have this for free. Once you are in, you will see this page. Okay, so once you are in, then go ahead and click the new project button and give your project a title. How about research project? Obviously, we've been using MLA, so click that, and you should always click the advanced level of the citation and click submit. Oh, I already used that. So project, how about 12? And so it's going to take you into the project, and this is the dashboard page. I usually don't fill anything out on this dashboard page. If you want to use anything in here, you can. You can put your research question. You can put links to your paper and share it with people if you want. You can set it to public view if you want. You can collaborate with other people by putting their RIT usernames in here. You just click add student and put their username in there. You can create a to-do list. Basically, this is just a way to keep the messy process of research fairly clean. So up here on the toolbar, you'll notice that there are a couple of tabs. If you click on the paper, I'm not signed into Google, so it's not going to let me do that. But that would be if you have a Google email, then you can share your paper with other people that way. I don't require my students to do note cards either. I just want you to be aware that this is something that Noodle Tools lets you do. If you are a visual kind of writer, you can create the note cards over here and mix and match and move them around. You can also create an outline over here. Again, if you are not that kind of a writer, then you don't need to do that, and I'm not requiring you to do that. Over here on sources, this is how we're going to be using this the very most. So once you have located a source, and I'm going to show you in just a minute about doing that. But once you have a source, then you will click this button right here, new source, the green button. Now it's going to open this toolbar. I would say 95% of what you are going to be gathering for this project is right here under database. So when you click database, it's going to open this fairly intimidating looking window. Almost every source you're going to be locating is most likely going to be a journal article. You can look at the different kinds of sources here, but for the most part, I would say 95% of them are going to be journal articles. So you're going to want to click journal, okay? And that is going to open this little interface right here. And what this is asking you to do is to fill out all of these empty fields with the information from the source. Now, that is the difficult way to do this. There's a much, much easier way to do that. And what you do is you go right here to copy and paste the citation, and you click that, and it will open up this empty field right here. Now, we don't have an article yet to put in here. So I'm going to go back to my courses. And on this little link right here, it says click to go to Academic Search Elite. That is the RIT research database that we are going to use. This is where you're going to be locating your sources. And Academic Search Elite is right here. It's the second option. It says full text here, which means most of the sources in this database are going to be full text. Not all of them are. So if you find sources that aren't full text, don't be surprised. But I'm going to go ahead and click on Academic Search Elite. And that's going to take me into the interface with the database. Now, there's some functionality here that you need to be aware of. All of these search options below are filters, okay? And I suggest that you only put one filter on here at the beginning. Don't click full text. You'll be tempted to click full text. Don't click that because that will greatly limit the number of sources you end up finding. You can tell it I only want bibliographies, I only want articles or abstracts. I always leave that at all. You can tell it you want a certain number of pages. I never click that one. You can tell it you only want it from a particular publication. Again, that's not one that I use very often, if ever. You can tell it you want it in a certain language. You can tell it you want images. I don't click. The only one here that I click at first is the scholarly peer-reviewed journals. That's the kind of sources that you want to be looking for. So let me give you a quick piece of advice before we jump in here and do a search. What I'm about to do, I call a blind search, which means all I have is a topic or a question. I don't really have a particular source that I'm looking for. The best advice I can give you when you're doing research is to go to the works cited page of the articles you have already found. For example, if you're using one of the articles from class, go to its works cited page and mine it. Try to find as many sources that read it and try to find as many sources that sound promising to you. So let's say, for example, we read an article that quoted Bronwyn T. Williams. So instead of just typing in a search term, I'm going to type in an actual name, Bronwyn T. Williams. And he's also the guy that wrote The Man Behind the Curtain. So I'm going to click search here. Remember, I have on the scholarly peer-reviewed journal filter. So I'm going to click this, and it will bring up anything associated with Bronwyn T. Williams. Okay. Now, it came up with 25 different sources. Obviously, you're not going to read all 25 of these sources. So what you're doing right now is you're just kind of going down through the list and looking at these titles and asking yourself, do any of these sound at all useful to me? So let's say if you're writing on plagiarism, this sounds like a good article. So instead of immediately clicking on the PDF full text, as you can see here, click on the title itself instead. And that's going to take you to this page. As you can see, the PDF full text is on this page as well. This page is filled with a bunch of information that you need. It's going to give you key terms from the article, okay? And that's a big help. It's going to give you the citation information up here. It's going to give you, and this is probably a researcher's most useful tool, and that is an abstract. You use the abstract, you read the abstract to decide, does this sound like a promising source for my paper? That way you don't have to wade through 50 articles and read all 50 of them. You can read the abstract and decide, is this what I am looking for? Okay, so read the abstract, and let's say that this is a source that sounds promising to you. Now over here on the right-hand side are a number of different options. You could add it to a folder on your computer. You could print it if you wanted to. You could email it to yourself. You could save it, export it. The one that we're interested in right here is Cite. So I'm going to click Cite, and it's going to open up this window, which gives you a bunch of different kinds of citation systems. Obviously, we're using MLA. So go down to MLA and highlight the citation, okay? And click Control-C on your keyboard. Now, let's jump back to the Noodle Tools tab. Remember when I clicked on the Quick Cite and opened up this window here? I'm going to paste Control-V, what I just took from the database, and I'm going to click Save. And there it is. This is in the project that I just created, and this is the new source right here. Here's the citation for it, okay? Now, one of the ways you're going to use this is not just to create the citations, but you're also going to be creating the annotations here as well. Let me give you a piece of advice. I would write the annotation in Word. So here's an annotation. Let's say that I found my article, I read my article, and now I have written my annotation for the article. I've written it in Word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the entire citation. I'm going to copy it by clicking Control-C. Then I'm going to go back to Noodle Tools. And under this blue button right here where it says Options, I'm going to click Edit. And I'm going to go down past where it says Manually Edit Citation. I'm going to go down to the Annotation. And I'm going to Control-V and paste it in there. And then I'm going to click Save. And as you can see, I now have my citation followed immediately by my MLA formatted annotation, okay? Now, Couple of little details here. Once you have put 3 of your sources into Noodle Tools, 3, did I say 3? I meant 2. I'm only asking you to annotate 2, as it says in my courses. Once you have both of them in there, I don't have them in there now, I'm just going to do it with this one, but I am going to click this article because I want it to export it. I'm going to go right here to print export, and I'm going to export it to, I'm not going to print it, I'm going to export it into Word. So as you can see, it put it down here. And when I click on it, there it is. It opened up Word, and there is my citation and my annotation. Now you're going to have to mess around with it just a little bit. Follow the directions under my courses. In fact, let's go back to my courses for just a second. I'm going to click on my courses, and here's the directions here. It says, it talks about, I'm sorry, I have to go to next time. If we go to next week, because this week you're just gathering sources. Next week you're creating annotations. And so you're going to want to follow this format here for creating your annotations. Okay, it's nice and clear. Let me go back to my annotation that I just created for just a second ago. One of the things you're going to have to do is put your, obviously, your name and whatever your research question is, whatever that happens to be, put it in there, okay? You'll see that in the 2 samples that I have created, okay? So let's go away from this for just a minute. So back to the research database. Do your best with this, okay? One of the things you're going to have to do is be stubborn and persistent, because if you're going to do a search and you don't know someone's name, well, you can start really broad, for example, and start with writing, and that's going to come up with many, many, many results. This came up with 164,000, way more than you could possibly use. So what you're going to want to do, if you decide that writing is the search term you want to go with, you're going to have to put some filters on it. But as I said, being persistent and stubborn, you're also going to have to try different ways of saying the same word. For example, writing, here's another way to say that. Composition and rhetoric is another way of searching a particular term. You're going to have to try different combinations of different search terms and be persistent, okay? It's very important. Is there anything else? I went very quickly because I didn't want this recording to be too long. If you're having issues or problems, you can email me and I will help you as much as I possibly can. Okay? So do your best and we will talk soon. Good luck. Happy researching.